The modern professional footballer represents peak human capability, possessing a precise kinetic and spatial mastery over their entire physical environment. But the moment they step off the pitch, that invincibility disappears, and they are subjected to the same unforgiving laws of reality as anyone else. We are examining 8 football legends, categorized by the specific ways their command of the physical world was eventually stripped away. We're tracing the points where physical perfection met the uncontrollable forces of physics and biology. In October 2014, a routine moment of triumph became fatal for 23-year-old midfielder Peter Biaksangwala. After scoring an equalizing goal, he attempted a celebratory somersault, but a single spatial miscalculation caused him to land directly on his head. The impact sharply buckled his neck, inflicting severe cervical spine trauma and spinal cord damage. Despite surgical stabilization and the ventilator, his motor functions never returned, and he died from systemic complications 5 days later. That same sudden loss of kinetic control extends to high-speed machinery. José Antonio Reyes was a prominent Spanish footballer of the early 2000s who won titles with Arsenal and Real Madrid. On June 1, 2019, Reyes was traveling by car at a reported 81 miles per hour when a sudden tire malfunction caused the car to veer, collide with a barrier, and ignite. His accident mirrors the 2025 death of Diogo Jota, a dynamic forward known for his speed and sharp finishing at Liverpool. On July 3rd, while overtaking another vehicle on Spain's A52 highway, Jota's Lamborghini Huracan suffered a massive tire blowout. This diagram maps the crash site, where investigators found skid marks stretching over 30 meters. These marks show how Jota desperately tried to regain control as the car flipped multiple times before bursting into flames. This vulnerability extends from the road to the sky. In January 2019, 28-year-old Emiliano Sala had just signed for Cardiff City for a record €15 million, but his flight over the English Channel simply disappeared. Police launched an immediate rescue effort, scouring a massive 4,400 square kilometer search grid over 3 days. Nearly 2 weeks later, the wreckage was located at a depth of 63 meters, where a postmortem confirmed Sala died from severe trauma sustained in the crash. On the pitch, these men maintain near-perfect balance, but inside failing machinery, human agency completely vanishes when subjected to the overwhelming momentum of gravity and velocity. Sometimes the loss of control isn't external. Gary Speed was a legendary Welsh midfielder who played over 500 Premier League matches, but his toughest battle was an invisible failure of mental health. His final weekend seemed entirely normal. He appeared as a guest on BBC's Football Focus on a Saturday afternoon. But the very next morning, his wife found him hanging in their garage. An inquest later noted that management pressures had put a severe strain on his life and marriage. While Speed's mind buckled under unseen pressure, Diego Maradona's body suffered a slow, systemic physical decay, heavily aggravated by years of substance abuse that eroded his cardiovascular system. In 2020, Maradona underwent surgery to remove a subdural hematoma. In the days following, his home medical team missed glaring warning signs, including labored breathing and fluid buildup in his lungs. Without a doctor consistently present, he suffered a fatal cardiac arrest in his sleep. Even the most universally celebrated bodies can turn on themselves. Edson Arantes de Nascimento, globally known as Pelé, scored over 1,200 goals, but his final years were a battle against an uncontrollable biology, colon cancer. This timeline tracks his medical decline. After a 2021 surgery, early 2022 scans showed the cancer metastasizing into his intestines, lungs, and liver. A COVID-19 respiratory infection complicated his treatment, shifting him to palliative care before succumbing to multiple organ failure. Even the most finely tuned, historically elite athletic bodies eventually rebel. Internal biology simply cannot be outmaneuvered or trained away. But there is an even more complete deprivation of autonomy, being caught in a war zone. This was the fate of Solomon Alabit, a revered striker known as the Palestinian Pelé. By August 2025, the ongoing war in southern Gaza had devastated local infrastructure. Like thousands of other civilians, Alabid was forced to stand in a long line, waiting for a rare delivery of humanitarian aid. A loud crack echoed across the distribution point, followed by gunfire, sending the desperate crowd scrambling blindly for cover. In the ensuing chaos, Alabid was struck in the chest while trying to shield others in the crowd. With ambulances unable to navigate the destroyed roads to reach the site, he succumbed to his injuries within minutes. In a war zone, the precision of an elite athlete is superseded by the blunt mechanics of systemic violence and structural collapse. Whether it's a blown tire on a Spanish highway, failing internal organs, or a stray bullet in a crowd, mortality forces a total surrender of control. Yet there is a striking contrast. While the physical body is vulnerable, the scale of public mourning reveals how deeply these individuals remain embedded in the collective culture. When Maradona passed, an estimated 1 million people flooded the streets of Buenos Aires. The grief echoes worldwide, seen in the universal tributes paid to Pelé and the emotional homages delivered by Cristiano Ronaldo for his fallen teammate Diogo Jota. Their legacies are grounded in the historical permanence of their achievements on the pitch, records and moments that outlive their biological forms. The athletic body is designed for a temporary peak, but the footprint left by these careers operates on a different timeline entirely.